So let us start with immunity. What is immunity? The word is very common, and we have seen that people saying your immunity is good or your immunity is bad or weak. So it is an ability of any organism to resist or defend itself from development of disease. So it's the capacity of an organism, or it is a power of an organism that it does not allow the disease to incorporate in them or to develop in them. From where we get immunity? How it is? So immunity are of two types. One is innate immunity, the second is acquired immunity. Now when you say innate immunity, it means from your birth, inborn immunity. And when you say acquired immunity, it means adaptive immunity, which you have got from your birth. After the birth till whatever age you are, you have taken a lot of medicines, vaccines, injections, all different things. That is all adaptive. But in adaptive also we have two types. One is active, one is passive. So we have to see now innate immunity, acquired immunity, and in acquired both active and passive immunity. So let us start with innate immunity. Innate immunity is present from the birth and it is inherited from the parents. It is not specific type of defense, so it does not show a specific response to a specific organism. It is not specific. It is accomplished by providing different types of barriers to the entry of foreign agents. 4 types of barriers are there, which every human being gets it from the birth. So it does not allow the organism to go in our body and then it causes our disease. So it protects us from entering actually. The first is the physical barrier. This barrier does not allow the pathogen to enter our body, especially the foreign material. We have skin, the outer layer covering, then we have mucus membranes, especially in the digestive or digestive tract. We have respiratory and urogenital tract, there also mucus are there. They can trap this microorganism, so it does not enter our body. Then we have physiological barriers, sweat, tears from the eyes, acid in the stomach, enzymes in the saliva. These are common things which helps or prevents microbial growth. Third is the cellular barriers. We have WBCs, white blood cells, especially polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL. PMNL, neutrophils, another. We have monocytes, natural killer cells or natural killer lymphocytes, macrophage, which phagocytoses and destroys the microbes. So we have cellular, we have cells, WBCs, special cells, neutrophils, macrophage, we have monocytes. These all cells, they act as a cellular barriers. Then fourth barrier is cytokine barrier. Now proteins called interferons produced by virus infected cells protect the non-infected cells from further viral infection. So proteins called interferons, which are produced by virus infected cells, they protect the non-infected cells from the viral infection. How? Suppose a virus has entered your body. The virus has entered the cell, so definitely the cell is going to die now. But before the cell die, the cell produce a protein called interferons, and that interferon is been working as a message, or it passed the message to nearby non-infected cells, and thus these non-infected body cells are protected. Like, suppose if you are living in society, there are 10-15 houses, and in one of the house, if you find that the thief or the robbers are there, the other neighbors shout and wake all other, so that they are protected at least, and the robbers won't enter their house. It is like that. So if one cell of our body is infected, the cell may die, but it produces a protein and we save the other cells, nearby cells, and that is interference. So that is cytokine barrier. So we have 4 barriers now: physical barrier, physiological barrier, cellular barrier, and cytokine barrier. We have acquired immunity now. Acquired means adaptive. So it is not present from the birth. It develops during individual's lifetime. So whatever you take, medicines and injections and vaccines, these all are adaptive. It is pathogen specific. Yes, this is very, very important. If you have a typhoid, the doctor will prescribe the medicines of typhoid's bacteria only. If you have viral, then the medicines will be for that. If you have any other, then the medicine. This is pathogen specific. It has ability to distinguish diverse type of foreign molecules or antigen. Yes, it can easily distinguish the different types of foreign antigens or foreign molecules. So when the immune system encounters the pathogen for the first time, a primary response is produced, which is very low intensity. So imagine, for the first time a pathogen has entered your body, and as soon as it enters the body will know that this is not a part of our body. So the body will try to react, fight against that pathogen. But because our body cells are not ready, because they were not knowing that today pathogen is going to come, so the reaction will be very less, of low intensity. But somehow they could manage it out. And one thing important, these cells have memory of that antigen. So whenever the second time this antigen enters the body, our body will react much faster with high intensity and kill that pathogen or antigen. So the memory of these encounters with the same pathogen is also formed, and on the subsequent encounter with the same pathogen, a secondary immune response or anamnestic response, what we call it, is produced, which is of very high intensity because of memory of the first encounter. So there was a memory of primary encounter, and because of that the body reacts very high. It's an example, like, again I will give the same example, that a person comes to your house, you open a gate, you don't know who he is, so you may allow him because he was talking good, and suddenly you come to know he's a thief or he's a robber. So at that time it was very difficult for you to fight because you were not prepared for it. Fine, but you have seen his face and you know what exactly he brought with him. But after say 5 years, 10 years, if you find him even on the road, you'll be very much prepared in your house that as soon as he enters your society campus also, you will have a very high response. That is what body does. Now immune response are produced by 2 types of lymphocyte. One is B lymphocyte, which we call as B cell, and the other is T lymphocyte, which we call as a T cells. So B cells, they produce army of antibodies, proteins in the blood in response to the pathogen, and T lymphocyte or T cells, they helps the B cell to produce antibodies. So both are necessary. B cell, they produce antibodies, and T cell, they help the B cell to produce antibodies. and both B and T cell helps the immune system to work properly. Now the two type of acquired immunity or acquired immune response which is developed in the body are AMI and CMI. AMI is antibody mediated immunity and CMI means cell mediated immunity. AMI, antibody mediated immunity, is also called humoral immune response, which is developed by antibodies in our blood and lymph, that is mostly by B cells, and cell mediated immunity is mediated by T cells or T lymphocytes. Now this T cells or CMI, it is responsible for the graft rejection in the organ transplant because of its ability to differentiate between self and non-self. So tissue matching, blood grouping matching are essential before there is any transplant or graft. Even after this also, patients are given immune suppressant for all their lives. Suppose a person has to have a kidney transplant and that kidney is taken from his brother or sister only. Then also, the person who is taking that organ will find T cell response. The body will not accept that kidney because the body cells, T cells, knows that this is not their body's organ. So it can easily distinguish between self and non-self. So what the doctor do? Then they give immune suppression. So they give some injection in which the T cell does not react. They get suppressed. And thus T cell which help or which makes CMI and B cell which make AMI are very, very important for our immune system. We have active and passive immunity. Active immunity is it is developed when the pathogen when pathogen gets contact with the body directly. But passive is developed when the ready-made antibodies are injected in the body to protect the body from the foreign agents. So there is a difference between active and passive. Suppose a pathogen has gone to our body and our body reacts, that is active. But if a pathogen has gone to our body and we cannot do anything, we cannot produce any immunity, we have to take some ready-made antibodies from some other organism which can be injected to us, and then the body works against that antigen. That is called passive. So active is slow but it is long lasting, while passive is fast but it is only for few days. Active immunity does not cause any kind of side effects, but passive definitely, because it is again taken from non-self, it is taken from some other organism. You might have seen vaccination for polio, that is an active immunity, while tetanus, antitoxin, antibodies in the cholesterol, these all are passive immunity. So today we have seen immunity, innate, acquired, inacquired, active and passive immunity, T cells, B cells, humoral and cell mediated immunity. This topic can be asked for 5 marks. So whenever you are studying, please study properly. Thank you.